Inspiring story, single mother saves billionaire's son from fatal accident called her MOM. A small tremor ran through Kansas City as news of the miraculous save raced through social media. Lisa Thompson, a dedicated waitress and single mother, had jumped into action, pulling billionaire's son Zach Anderson from the jaws of disaster. The excitement pulsed in the streets, a buzz igniting an emotional storm, a blend of disbelief and pride. How could someone from a humble background save a child of luxury from nearly meeting his fate? In a modest apartment, Lisa had meticulously organized her life to support her 15-year-old son, Jamal. Each night she served tables at the local diner, always wearing a smile despite exhaustion clinging to her like static electricity. A cascade of simple, soundless joys filled their home as Jamal's laughter cut through their day's struggles. They shared dreams over dinner, hoping for a future brighter than their past. While Lisa fought to put food on the table, Jamal poured his heart into school, working tirelessly to earn that elusive scholarship. Together, they were a fierce duo, unbreakable in spirit. It was a sunny afternoon when the fairy dust of fate sprinkled the community fair. Jamal, with his bright eyes and infectious smile, encountered Zach. The rich kid from a world of technology and luxury was engrossed in a simple stand, amazed by homemade crafts. Their friendship sparked instantly, like fireworks erupting in the night sky. Each boy found solace in the other's laughter, confidently crossing the chasm of their worlds. Lisa looked on, her heart buoyed by Jamal's gleeful interactions, while worry wormed in at the thought of how their different backgrounds might factor into their friendship. Their lives collided in a grand ballroom at a charity event hosted by Zach's affluent family. Lisa was waitressing, pouring drinks and offering polite smiles, doing her best to blend into an elite crowd that often eyed her suspiciously. The expensive chandeliers glimmered above, but the tension hung thick like fog. Just as she served Zach at a table filled with grandeur, a rogue distraction, a flurry of movement sent chairs crashing and attendees scrambling. In an instant, tragedy loomed as Zach stumbled backward. Then, something inside Lisa surgingly stirred. She leaped, defying her own limitations, catching him just in time. The room erupted into chaos. Panting, heart racing, she emerged holding Zach tightly. Instead of applause, however, the crowd buzzed with skepticism, whispers igniting like wildfire. Did she act out of pure courage, or was there an agenda shrouded in her background? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In the aftermath, Lisa found herself drowning in a flood of judgment. Friends and strangers whispered harsh doubts, questioning her intentions. Amid the scrutiny, she realized she was being thrust into a spotlight she never asked for. But in those moments of despair, she remembered Jamal's unwavering belief in her, a belief that coursed through her veins like electric current. Old, painful scars surfaced with the sudden reappearance of her estranged mother, complicated feelings hanging in the air. Would this newfound attention heal their battered relationship, or would it tear them further apart? Standing at that gap between judgment and acceptance, Lisa felt the weight of her choices. Hoping to redefine herself beyond society's stereotypes, she resolved to become the voice for those whose courage often went unnoticed. But would she ultimately find the peace and validation she sought, or was that hope merely an illusion? The morning sun crept into Lisa's apartment, casting warm light on the mismatched furniture that told the story of their lives. She stirred awake, the weight of last night's events still pressing down on her. Whispers of doubt echoed in her mind, mingling with the ghost of her mother's distant voice, urging her to be more, to strive harder, as if that could wash away the past. It was hard to shake the feeling that her moment of courage had turned into something heavier than her own apprehensions. Across the room, Jamal was still tucked under his covers, his face relaxed and peaceful. Lisa smiled softly at him, feeling a flicker of hope rekindle. Despite everything, he believed in her. That belief, so unyielding and pure, pushed her to rise. She crept into the tiny kitchen, brewing coffee and mentally bracing for what lay ahead. The day promised media attention as journalists began calling. Before she could settle, her phone rang, the screen flashing a name that made her heart race. Zach. Hesitant, she answered. "Ms. Thompson, it's Zach," he said, his voice warm yet slightly tremulous. "I wanted to check on you. Everyone is buzzing, you know." There was a pause, as if he was seeking the right words. "And I guess I just wanted to say thank you again." Lisa hadn't expected this. How could the son of a billionaire show such kindness? "I'm just glad you're okay. That's what matters." He paused, and for a fleeting moment, she could hear his thoughts struggling. "I haven't told my parents what happened. I feel like they don't see the world the same way." This caught Lisa off guard, but it was a revelation that pierced her heart. "Sometimes it's tough to bridge worlds, Zach. But maybe it's worth trying." Zach mustered a small chuckle. "Yeah, maybe. Can we meet, talk more? I feel like there's something important we share." For a moment, Lisa was torn. Could she step outside her comfort zone again and meet this young man who lived in a realm she had never really understood? Ultimately, she saw their worlds entwined, their paths inexplicably linked. "Okay, let us do that," she replied, after hanging up. An odd sense of exhilaration flushed through her. There was a shift happening, a change that felt monumental yet uncharted. She was no longer just a waitress, she was now a connection between two very different lives. Later that day, standing in front of the mirror, she pondered how to present herself. It felt like she was preparing for battle, but the stakes were different. She wasn't fighting for herself, it was for Jamal, for a legacy of changing the narrative. As night fell, the small cafe they agreed on buzzed with life. Lisa took deep breaths, scanning the room for Zach. When he arrived, he looked both nervous and excited, wearing casual clothes that somehow shone against the backdrop of their surroundings. They exchanged greetings, and as they settled into their booth, the conversation flowed easily. They discussed their lives, the divide of wealth, and the struggles of being thrust into the spotlight. Lisa revealed her dreams for Jamal, hoping to give him every opportunity to rise above. With each shared story, they found resonance, two souls defying societal boundaries, but when the subject of her mother came up, Lisa's voice broke, tension rolling through her. "Every time I try to move forward, I feel her shadow loom behind me, pulling me back." Zach leaned closer, revealing a hint of vulnerability. "You know, my parents often look ahead but never really see me. It's isolating." And just like that, they were both unraveling layers of themselves. As the night wore on, an undeniable connection grew, but lurking beneath was an unspoken fear that reality might not match the hope they shared. They stiffened when a familiar face crossed the cafe, a reporter known for sensationalizing stories, camera in tow. What would this mean for the fragile trust they were building? Lisa's heart raced, a mixture of apprehension and anticipation dancing within her. What awaited them outside the walls of their little haven? Could their newfound bond withstand the scrutiny, or would it fracture under pressure? The moment felt electric, leaving everything hanging in the balance as Lisa wondered what tomorrow might bring. The cafe hummed with chatter, but to Lisa, it all blurred into white noise as her gaze locked onto the reporter, who moved with an air of opportunism that seemed to cut the cozy atmosphere in two. Her heart thudded loudly in her chest, the anxiety creeping up her throat. Zach noticed her stiffening. "Hey, don't worry," he said, his voice low but firm. "They're just looking for a story. We're fine." But it didn't feel fine. The way the reporter was framing the scene with his camera made Lisa's stomach churn. What would they say? How would they twist the narrative? Would she even recognize herself in the headlines? As the reporter approached, she forced a smile that felt misplaced and fragile. Lisa couldn't escape the feeling that their connection had become a target, something to be dissected and exploited. "Is this an exclusive interview?" the reporter called out, camera ready. "Not at all," Zach replied, voice steady, positioned himself between Lisa and the camera with a confidence that surprised her. "We're just friends having a conversation." The reporter arched an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed. "Friends, huh? A waitress and a billionaire's son sounds like the beginning of a compelling story." Lisa's heart raced. She wanted to scream that there was more to it than that, a shared burden, aspirations, the weight of their pasts, but the words stuck in her throat. Her life had never been about headlines or drama, it was about survival and hope. Suddenly, Jamal's face flashed through her mind, the innocent smile she was fighting for. This was about him, not the tabloids. Taking a deep breath to steady herself, she steeled her resolve. She wouldn't let them turn her life into a circus act. "Are you done?" she asked, her voice surprisingly steady. "We're not here for a story. We're just trying to find each other in a world that keeps pulling us apart." There was a brief silence, the reporter taken aback for an instant. But soon, his expression hardened as he pressed on. "You know, a single parent becoming involved with a wealthy family is already a story. What do you think your son will think of this?" Lisa felt a blush crawling up her cheeks. The question struck deep, pressuring her to defend not just herself but her relationship with Jamal. He'll think his mom is doing everything she can to make the world a better place for him. The conviction in her voice gave her strength. Zach turned to her, admiration flashing in his eyes. "Exactly." As the tension simmered, the reporter shifted his focus, sensing that he'd lost the narrative. "All right then, I'll leave you to it." He retreated, but Lisa knew he would be lurking somewhere, waiting for a slip or a story to break. After the reporter left, Lisa felt a mix of relief and residual tension. "Sorry about that," she muttered. "I didn't mean to make things awkward." "Don't apologize," Zach said, reaching across the table and taking her hand. "You stood your ground. That's what matters." His grip was warm, his gaze soothing. The moment hung, a realization blossoming between them. Their connection had deepened in the face of scrutiny. Lisa felt a sense of belonging wash over her, tinged with the thrill of defiance. Perhaps together they could carve out a space where fear couldn't press in, but what about the shadows of their past still lurking just outside, waiting to upend everything once again? Her thoughts raced as they plunged into heartfelt conversation once more, trying to drown out the insecurities that clung to her. As they conversed, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the cliff's edge of something transformative, but before they could make headway, Lisa's phone buzzed on the table, bringing with it another wave of anxiety. She hesitated, then glanced at the screen, an unknown number flashing ominously. Would this call pull her back into a past she hoped to escape, or would it be a lifeline she desperately needed? With breath caught in her throat, she wondered who was on the other end and what it might mean for her and Jamal. The cafe felt larger, the distant sounds now echoing in the pit of Lisa's stomach. Unknown numbers were often harbingers of bad news. She looked at Zach, his brows knit with concern. "Take it," he urged softly. "It might be important." Still, she hesitated, her mind reeling. The vibrations from the phone felt almost foreboding against her palm. How could a phone call hold such power? She could feel herself teetering on the brink of familiarity with uncertainty. For a fleeting moment, she considered ignoring it, but with a resolute breath, she swiped the screen to accept it. "Hello?" she said, trying to keep her voice steady, though it trembled at the edges. "Lisa?" "It's Marissa," came the hesitant voice from the other end. Her heart raced. Marissa, her sister hadn't spoken in years, not since the fallout. "Marissa? What do you want?" The words slipped out unguarded, rough-edged like gravel. I just saw a news piece about you and Zach. I didn't know you were in the public eye. I thought it was a mistake at first." Marissa's voice trembled faintly, the silence stretching thin between them. Questions buzzed in Lisa's head. Was this an attempt to reconnect? Or something else? Is that all? You don't just call out of the blue after all this time. Lisa fought to keep her emotions in check, aware of Zach watching her closely, offering silent support. I know. I messed up, Marissa choked out, emotion slipping in. But I need to talk. We need to talk about Mom. There's been something, she stammered, struggling to find the words. The mention of their mother elicited a rush of memories, bitter ones tangled with love and resentment. She's not my concern, Lisa replied, each word heavy with history. Please, just hear me out. It's important. I wouldn't call if it wasn't. A heavy silence followed, with Lisa squeezing her eyes shut, nearly losing herself in the whirlpool of conflicting feelings. As she held the phone, her heart ached for the sister she longed to connect with, yet feared was still wrapped in the chaos they had left behind. Fine. Meet me somewhere. I'll hear you out. But just know, I'm not ready to just jump back into the family drama, Marissa, she said coolly, though her voice wavered slightly. Thank you, Marissa's voice cracked, relieved but still distant, like someone reaching out from a long, dark tunnel. Can we meet tomorrow? Same cafe at 3? Okay, Lisa replied, not fully convinced. As she hung up, she turned to Zach, who was still holding her hand. The warmth from his touch grounded her as turmoil spiraled within. It's Marissa. She wants to talk about Mom, she confessed, her voice barely a whisper. Zach squeezed her hand tightly. Do you want to? She took a moment, grappling with feelings of wanting to bridge a gap while fearing the consequences. I don't know. I'm scared it will all just unravel again. He nodded as if he understood every fiber of her struggle. It's okay to be scared. But you're not alone in this. The simple words settled around them, a balm to her racing heart. Lisa took a deep breath as she caught sight of the cafe door, pondering the past that awaited her. Maybe this is our chance to heal, she murmured, partly to herself. Could they really come together again? Was forgiveness even possible? Zach's presence felt like a solid ground beneath her feet, a reassurance she had never thought she would find. But as the shadows of memories loomed closer, she felt the weight of her decision pressing down on her. Tomorrow could change everything. With that thought, she shivered, uncertainty mingling with hope. What revelations awaited her in that conversation? Would she find closure or open old wounds? As they transitioned into lighter topics, Lisa found solace in the warmth of Zach's laughter, yet the impending conversation loomed larger than life, darkening the horizon of tomorrow. The morning sun crept through the cafe windows, casting soft light across the room. Lisa arrived early, her heart pounding as she took a seat at a small table near the back. The scent of freshly brewed coffee danced in the air, but it did little to calm the jitters that constricted her stomach. She traced her fingers nervously around the edge of her mug, the ceramic warmth contrasting sharply with the chill that settled in her bones. Each tick of the clock felt amplified, stretching time as though it were taunting her. What was she doing? Meeting Marissa seemed like diving headfirst into a storm without knowing how deep the waters ran. This wasn't just about reconnecting, it was about confronting years of silence, animosity, and hurt. Then the door swung open. Marissa stepped in, looking around as if the cafe were a foreign land. Her hair was longer, a bit wilder than Lisa remembered, but the resemblance was undeniable. The moment their eyes locked, a ripple of emotion surged through Lisa. There was both recognition and an unfamiliarity, like staring at a reflection that had faded over time. Lisa, Marissa said, her voice barely above a whisper, filled with hesitation. Marissa, Lisa managed, her own voice sounding foreign even to her. You're here. Marissa approached cautiously, sliding into the seat across from her. A silence consumed them, heavy and thick with unspoken words. I didn't think you'd actually come, Marissa said, her fingers fidgeting with the edge of the table. Lisa crossed her arms defensively, still grappling with emotions that tossed like waves in her mind. You called. I'm here. But I don't know how much I can take in right now. Marissa nodded, her expression unreadable. I know. This is difficult. But I wouldn't have reached out if it wasn't important. Then just say it, Lisa urged, impatience creeping into her tone. You said something about Mom. Marissa took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts like fragile pieces of glass. It's about her health. She's not well. I found out recently, and all I can think about is how we were never there for her. Or each other. The words hit Lisa like a punch. The anger and sadness she'd bottled up over the years bubbled to the surface. And you think this is enough to just what? Pretend everything is fine? No. Not fine, Marissa almost pleaded, her eyes shimmering. But maybe, just maybe, it's a chance to try again. I miss us the way we used to be. Lisa's heart squeezed painfully. Did she miss that? Did she truly want to go back to old wounds, to family chaos? You hurt me, Marissa. You don't just get to waltz in here and act like it never happened. Marissa flinched at the truth in Lisa's words. I know I'm asking for a lot. I'm not expecting us to be the sisters who shared everything overnight. But can we maybe explore this together? For a moment, Lisa sat frozen in uncertainty, the gravity of the moment tightening around her, suffocating yet vibrant with potential. A part of her wanted to scream, to tell her sister how many times she'd been let down. But beneath the layers of pain, there was something fierce within her, a yearning for connection. Zach's encouragement echoed in her mind, lending her strength. Could this conversation lead to healing or merely reopen wounds? I don't know how to forgive you, she finally said, the weight of her honesty hanging heavy in the air. Marissa's gaze dropped, but Lisa could see the determination reflected in her sister's eyes. Neither do I. But I want to let this be the end of us. Just let me explain everything. Lisa felt her heart quicken. The storm still rumbled on the horizon of her thoughts, but beneath it lay a flicker of hope, the inklings of a reconciliation that felt almost impossible. What if this chance could lead to something beautiful after all? Conflicted, Lisa gripped the edge of the table, her mind swirling in doubt. Could they really forge a new path, or was this just another false start? Tomorrow might not be the only day that would change everything. She opened her mouth to speak, but her mind raced faster than her words. What would she choose to say? Lisa could feel the tension in the air, thick and suffocating. Just as she was about to respond, Marissa's expression transformed, her brow furrowing slightly. Wait, Lisa. Marissa hesitated, her voice trembling. I need to say something. I should have done this a long time ago. The gravity of that statement pulled Lisa deeper into her thoughts. She eyed Marissa, searching for an opening, a thread that would unravel the years of hurt between them. What do you mean? Marissa took a shaky breath, her fingers tightening on the table. Before I say anything, you should know that I deeply regret how everything fell apart. I was too caught up in my own world to see how my actions hurt you. To see how it all affected Mom. The sincerity in Marissa's eyes made Lisa momentarily forget the anger. But the wound still stung, raw and open. That's easy to say now, isn't it? Marissa shook her head vehemently. No, it isn't. It's taken me years to understand. I was blind, and I'm sorry. Silence enveloped them again, punctuated by the soft clinking of cups from other patrons. Lisa's thoughts flitted between her sister's words and memories of late-night arguments, spilled secrets, and broken trust. She wanted to be strong, to stand her ground, yet the flicker of hope in her chest tugged her closer. Mom is scared, Marissa whispered, her voice trembling. She's been asking about us, about the times we used to share. She remembers the laughter, the joy. We can't change the past, but we can still be there for her. Together. The mention of their mother, vulnerable and in need, hit Lisa like a wave. You want me to just jump back in, as if everything is okay? I can't do that so easily. I don't want it to be easy. I want us to work on it, to rebuild, Marissa replied vehemently, passion igniting her words. I'm terrified, Lisa. Terrified of losing her and losing you again. Lisa met her sister's gaze, the uncertainty in Marissa's eyes mirroring her own. There was a truth lurking there, buried beneath the years of separation, the possibility of mending what was broken. I don't know if I can. Her voice was low, almost a whisper filled with fear. I can't flick a switch and forget the pain. It's not fair to expect that of me. Marissa leaned in, her sincerity wrapping around Lisa like a warm blanket. I'm not expecting you to forgive overnight. I just want to try. For Mom. For us. Can we at least start with being honest? Lisa held her breath, wrestling with a tide of emotions. Could they really peel back the layers of hurt layer by layer, day by day? Maybe, she said hesitantly. But I need to know everything. No more secrets. Marissa nodded, relief flooding her features. I promise. I'll share it all, the good and the bad. Lisa took a deep, steadying breath, feeling the walls she'd built around herself start to crack. The thought of facing the truth felt daunting, but the idea of rewriting their story brought a different kind of fear, one tinged with hope. A sudden crash from the cafe kitchen broke their moment, making them both jump. The barista shouted something about spilling coffee, and the normal din of the cafe resumed. But in that brief chaos, Lisa glimpsed the possibility of change. Could they really turn things around? As she settled back into her chair, her heart raced at the thought of what lay ahead. Marissa was right here, willing to try again. What if we could be sisters again? Lisa wondered aloud, more to herself than to Marissa. Marissa smiled, a glimmer of gratitude lighting up her features. What if we could? The question hung in the air, heavy with potential. Just then, Lisa's phone buzzed on the table, vibrating insistently. She glanced at the screen, her stomach dropping. It was a message from their mother. Mom's text, Lisa whispered, staring at the name displayed on her screen. What else could she want? Marissa leaned in closer, their gazes locked on the phone. This moment could change everything. Could it finally be the call to action they both needed? As Lisa stared at the screen, her heart hammered in her chest. The message from their mother felt like a lifeline tossed into turbulent waters. Could this really be the moment they'd been waiting for? Open it, Marissa urged, a mix of anxiety and anticipation washing over her face. Taking a breath, Lisa tapped the screen and the message unfurled before them. Can we talk? I miss you both. The words lingered in the air, heavy with unspoken emotions. Lisa's mind raced. What could their mother want? Had she sensed the distance growing wider between them? Just the thought of their mother, wrestling with her own fears and longing for connection, sent a wave of guilt crashing over Lisa. What if she's not okay? Marissa's voice trembled, cutting through Lisa's thoughts. What if she needs us? Lisa met her sister's gaze, the urgency in Marissa's eyes pulling at her heartstrings. They both knew their mother had been struggling ever since their family began to fracture. In that moment, they were united not just by flesh but by the pull of familial love, a bond that had somehow survived through the years. We can't put this off, Lisa said, her resolve hardening. We owe it to her, and to us. Marissa nodded, her relief palpable. Let us not waste any more time. Lisa quickly typed her response. We can come over. When? She hit send and looked up, her stomach fluttering nervously. The weight of their mother's need shifted something within her, igniting a sliver of hope she had thought long extinguished. This could be their chance to face the past, to unwrap the hurt, and maybe even heal together. Minutes passed, though it felt like hours, until her phone buzzed again. It was their mother, responding almost instantly. Now. I'll be waiting. Wow. She wants to talk now. Marissa raised an eyebrow, both shocked and relieved. Let us go. I have to know. Lisa stood up, determination replacing her earlier hesitation. The walk to their mother's house seemed shorter than normal, the streets familiar yet foreign. Memories surged as they passed the old park they used to visit as kids and the library where they had haunted the aisles together, searching for adventure in the pages of books. Each step felt like a fragile thread pulling them toward an uncertain but necessary future. When they reached the front door, Lisa paused, her hand hovering over the doorknob. What if this goes wrong? What if she doesn't want to talk about everything? The uncertainty of it all made her heart race. Marissa placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. No matter what, we face it together. Remember? With a nod, Lisa took a deep breath and opened the door. The familiar scent of home washed over her. It felt both comforting and haunting, memories dancing in the corners of her mind. Mom? She called out, her voice barely steady. There was a pause, followed by the gentle sound of footsteps. Their mother appeared at the end of the hallway, her eyes a mixture of relief and worry. Hey, you both came. Her voice cracked slightly, a glimmer of tears shining in her eyes. Lisa stepped inside, heart pounding as the front door swung shut behind them. This was it. The moment they were all waiting for. How would it unfold? What secrets lay within the walls of this house, and what would it mean for the three of them? A heavy silence spread across the room, and Lisa knew this would change everything. What she didn't expect was to see the shadows of the past creeping back, threatening to pull them under once more. The air felt thick as their mother stepped closer, hesitating just enough to make Lisa's breath catch in her throat. It was a look Lisa hadn't seen in years, vulnerability etched across her mother's features, like a fragile light fighting to break through a storm. Can we sit? Their mother gestured to the old, worn couch that had witnessed countless family gatherings, arguments, and laughter. Lisa nodded, her heart racing. She could feel the tension pooling in her chest. As they settled down, Marissa reached for Lisa's hand, squeezing it tight, a silent pledge of support. Thank you for coming, their mother said softly, her gaze shifting between her daughters. I've missed you both so much. The pain in her voice sliced through Lisa. She wanted to respond, to say the same, but words tangled like threads in her mind. Instead, she simply nodded, her eyes holding her mother's. I know things haven't been easy, their mother continued, her voice shaking slightly. And I am so sorry for everything. For the silence, the distance. I've felt it too. I don't even know where to begin, Marissa said, her voice strained. You just left. We thought you didn't care. The accusation hung in the air, and Lisa felt her heart plummet. Was this how they were starting? But Marissa had a point. Their mother's departure had left a cavernous void in their lives, and now it seemed they were all teetering on the edge. I thought giving you space would help, their mother replied, tears shimmering in her eyes. I thought you would be happier without the chaos I brought into your lives. I didn't want to hurt you. But it hurt us just the same, Lisa finally spoke, her voice more forceful than she intended. Mom, we needed you. We still need you. Their mother lowered her gaze, shame shadowing her features. Silence enveloped them once more, thickening the air, each sister feeling the weight of truth hanging heavily like an open wound. Then, in almost a whisper, their mother said, I want to try and fix this. To be the mom you deserve. The sincerity in her tone sparked a flicker of hope in Lisa. But was it enough? Could years of pain be erased in moments? Is that even possible? Marissa asked, pushing a stray lock of hair behind her ear. I hope so, their mother replied, her voice barely more than a whisper. I know it'll take time to rebuild trust. All I'm asking for is a chance. Lisa's heart ached at the sight of their mother, the woman who had once held them close but had now become a stranger. Could she allow herself to believe in this chance? What do you need from us? Lisa questioned, her voice steadier now. I need you to let me in, their mother said, her gaze unwavering. Will you let me try? Lisa looked at Marissa, who was still holding her hand, her expression reflecting uncertainty but also a hint of longing. With a deep breath, Lisa realized they were standing on the edge of something powerful. The past had been weighty, but perhaps the future could be lighter, full of possibilities. But just as Lisa was about to speak, a loud knock shattered the fragile moment. The unexpected sound echoed through the house, jolting them all from their vulnerable state. Who could that be? Marissa asked, her brow furrowing in confusion. Lisa exchanged a glance with her mother. Was it someone from their past? Or a new complication? Whatever it was, it felt like yet another layer of uncertainty crashing down. A fresh wave of anxiety washed over Lisa. What now? What could this mean for what was just beginning to mend? As the door creaked open, the weight of the past, present, and future hung in the air. The door opened wider, revealing a figure neither of them had expected. The door swung wide, revealing a tall man with disheveled hair and a worried expression. He was gripping a jacket tightly around him, as if it could somehow contain the urgency radiating from his frame. The moment he stepped into the light of the living room, recognition washed over Lisa like a cold wave. James? Her voice came out barely above a whisper. It was Marissa's childhood friend, but now, he looked like a man on the brink of breaking down. Lisa, Marissa, he stammered, his eyes darting around the room. I'm sorry to barge in like this, but I really need to talk to you. It's about your mom. The weight of his words sent shivers down Lisa's spine. Their mother's expression shifted. The vulnerability that had just begun to surface was now replaced by a flicker of dread. What happened? She asked, her voice trembling. It's about a car accident. Your son. Jack. He's in the hospital, James said, each word painfully slow. He was hit while crossing the street. He's stable, but... His voice faltered just as tears welled in his eyes. I thought you'd want to know right away. A heavy silence enveloped the room. If the knock had shattered the moment, this news obliterated it entirely. Lisa felt a surge of fear grip her as she processed the information. Jack? The youngest of their family, the child they had all sworn to protect. How bad is it? She asked, her voice shaking. I was at the scene, James said, eyes pleading. He was conscious, he was calling for you. He kept saying he wanted his mom. Their mother turned ashen, trembling like a leaf caught in a storm. I should have been there. I wasn't. Her voice was barely above a whisper, a painful admission laced with guilt. Marissa stood stock still, her lips pressed together tightly. It was a moment of raw chaos, with emotions colliding in unexpected ways. Mom! Lisa shouted, her heart racing. This was not how she envisioned their first real conversation. You can't blame yourself right now. Jack needs you. We need to be there for him. Just like that, clarity cut through the fog. In the midst of the emotional storm that had started brewing between them, the core of their bond, their family, demanded their focus. Their mother took a deep breath, steadying herself. You're right. We need to go. She turned to James, her face resolute. Where is he? St. Mary's Hospital, he replied, urgency resurfacing in his tone. I can drive you. Please, we need to hurry. Lisa felt her heart racing in sync with the urgency in the room. In that moment, the past felt inconsequential compared to the present crisis. Every ounce of hurt and misunderstanding faded to a dull ache as the fight to save Jack took precedence. Before they left, James paused at the door, looking back at the trio. I know this isn't how you wanted to reconnect, but sometimes he trailed off, struggling to articulate the gravity of their situation. Sometimes life just takes a turn you never expect. As they hurried out the door, and Lisa squeezed her mother's hand, she felt a flicker of a connection being forged anew amongst the chaos. They were together in this, what awaited them at the hospital. Would they find Jack in a state that mirrored their fears? The thought hung heavy in the air, leaving unspoken worries swirling. Each step felt heavy with both dread and determination, but above all, hope flickered in the background, waiting to break through like dawn after a long night. As they reached the car, Lisa knew one thing for certain: the next hours would change everything again. The fluorescent lights of St. Mary's Hospital buzzed as Lisa followed close behind her mother and Marissa. The air was thick with tension and an undercurrent of fear. It was a place they had all visited too many times before, a space of crisis, uncertainty, and hope. They rushed through the halls, their hearts pounding in unison. The muffled sounds of distant voices and beeping machines seemed to fade as they approached Jack's room. Lisa's throat felt tight. What if he was hurt badly? What if he never woke up? As they turned a corner, they saw a nurse coming toward them. Her smile was warm but laced with sympathy. "You must be the family," she said gently. "Jack's stable, but he'll need to be monitored for a while." Relief washed over them, but dread still clung like fog. "Can we see him?" their mother asked, her voice trembling. "Of course. One at a time, please." The nurse gestured toward the room, her demeanor reassuring yet professional. Marissa hesitated for a moment, then whispered, "I'll go first. I'll keep him calm." Lisa nodded, watching her sister vanish into the room. As the door closed, their mother turned to Lisa, her eyes reflecting an ache that was impossible to ignore. "I should have been there for him," she whispered, guilt pulling at her features. "Mom, you can't do this right now," Lisa said, trying to steady the storm raging between them. "Jack needs us to be strong. For him." Their mother nodded slowly, a mix of gratitude and remorse filled her gaze. It was in that moment of vulnerability that Lisa saw a flicker of the mother she had always wanted, a woman willing to fight, to be present, and to love. They waited, the seconds stretching unbearably. Finally, the door opened again, and Marissa stepped out, her face pale but determined. "He's asking for you, Lisa," she said, her voice a whisper of emotion. With her heart racing, Lisa entered the room. Jack lay there, small and fragile against the stark white of the bed. The sight tugged at her heart. "Hey, buddy," she said softly as she approached, trying to disguise the tremor in her voice. His eyes flitted open, and they sparkled with recognition. "Mom," he croaked, his voice raw. "I was scared." Tears filled Lisa's eyes, a mix of relief and despair. "I know, sweetie. But you're going to be okay. I'm right here." "Did I do something wrong?" he asked, guilt clouding his features. No, Jack. It wasn't your fault. You just need some rest." Her heart ached as she brushed a strand of hair off his forehead, her fingers trembling. "You just need to focus on getting better." Jack seemed to relax a little, nodding slowly. "Okay, but promise you won't leave?" "Promise." Lisa took his hand, feeling his warmth against her palm. In that moment, everything shifted. The weight of her past, the hurt, the family strife melted away. Jack mattered most. He always had. As they spoke, their mother lingered in the doorway, and Lisa caught her eyes. A wave of emotion washed over them both. Perhaps this moment could be a bridge not just for her and Jack, but for the entire family. After several minutes, Lisa stepped back, letting her mother in. The air shifted, it felt lighter somehow. The room was still, yet an electric pulse hummed beneath the surface. "Hey, Jack," their mother said, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm here. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. I want to be with you now, to help you get better." Jack's tired eyes flickered between his mom and Lisa, as if sensing the turmoil but feeling the pull of family. "You can stay?" "Of course," their mother pledged, reaching for his hand. Lisa stepped back slightly, watching the two connect. There, in the midst of trauma and uncertainty, the path ahead began to unfold. They had faced darkness together, and now, perhaps, they could find a way back to the light as a family. As moments ticked by, laughter and warmth filled their hearts, carving out a new chapter in the fabric of their lives. One filled with hope, forgiveness, and a pledge to stand together, no matter the challenges ahead. When Jack drifted off to sleep, peace settled in the room like sunlight streaming through a window. Lisa stepped outside, a weight lifted from her shoulders. Marissa stood waiting, and their mother joined them, a warmth spreading in the air thick with connection. "We're in this together now," Lisa said, her heart full. Marissa nodded, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "I didn't think we could be, but here we are." And as Lisa looked at her mother and sister, determined to rebuild, she realized they had taken the first step to heal old wounds. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but it would be theirs together. In that moment, Lisa felt the full return of hope, an understanding that family could rise, no matter how many times it fell. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of building this community together.